Moment of silence.
Be careful, be careful.
I wasn't so much marching with the protest as I was watching it, taking photos of it. But then someone came up to me and said, I have an extra sign, an extra gravestone. Do you want to join the die-in? How is it they chose me? I'm not talking about the person handing me the sign. By they, I mean the virus. They, this evolutionary intelligence with a structure and behavior which is remarkably effective at propagation. I'm the host now of this intelligence, this information, this story that will be emerging full-blown soon. I am the harbinger. Their story is my story. The H5N1 strain of the bird flu has an increased ability to bind to the human respiratory tract and has a 60% fatality rate. So I must keep moving with this story, keep telling it. This journey is my act of contrition. I grew up as the oldest boy in a large family. My family's farm was just outside Chicago, and nearby was one of those factory farms that produced eggs. Not all their eggs went to market. The factory chose certain breeding hens and roosters to produce eggs that would be incubated. Of course, only 50% of the chicks born from these eggs would be hens. But it takes 6 to 8 weeks before you can tell the sex of a chicken. At that point, they would call my family and give us as many rooster chicks as we wanted. The rest of these chicks were nothing more than a useless byproduct. They were hung upside down by their feet on a line, flailing, terrified, as their heads were dragged through electrified water. The market called our little roosters either spring chickens or broilers. The name comes from the meat product they were destined to become. The 50 or so chicks my family raised would peck around the acre of lawn surrounding the farmhouse, feeding on seeds and worms and insects. As a kid, at feeding time, I tossed the chicks ground up pieces of corn kernels. They would run up to my feet en masse, surrounding me in their joy. It was my favorite farm work. But after about 6 weeks of feeding, the chicks were big enough and ready for slaughter, something I never witnessed until I was maybe 11 or 12. That's the age when I was considered old enough and strong enough to kill. The slaughter was simple and quick. Unknowingly, the chicks would run up to my feet, thinking they were about to be fed. You could easily pick them up one by one, then grip their neck and head with one hand, and then with a quick downward snap, the body and head would separate. For maybe a minute, the headless body would flail all over the yard you know, like a chicken with its head cut off. I have a lot of nostalgia about growing up on my family farm, but these headless, flailing chickens is a vision that disrupts the idyllic childhood memories. It haunts me to this day. So, if I could find my way to the temple, I'll carry this story, this act of contrition. I'll carry it there. I don't know what I'll find there, if I find anything. I don't know what the egg story means or why I'm carrying it for so long, my whole life. It's been a secret that is just now emerging into the open. It's like a virus that's been living inside me, dormant. Perhaps I'll survive. Perhaps the virus will adapt. Or maybe I'll adapt. And maybe someday the birds and I will live together again, somewhere, somehow, some way. Happy.